The medical station floated in the darkness of space like a giant metal flower. Its white walls gleamed under the light of distant stars. Inside the station, doctors from many different worlds worked to save lives. They had saved thousands of beings over the years. But today, they faced something they had never seen before. Dr. Zethkar walked down the long hallway. His blue skin shimmered under the bright lights. He had been a doctor for over 300 years. In that time, he had treated creatures from dozens of worlds. Some had fur, some had scales, some breathed water instead of air, but he always found a way to help them get better. The doctor stopped at room 7. Inside lay a human male named Jake Morrison. Jake was a cargo pilot who flew between the stars. He carried supplies from one world to another. It was simple work, but dangerous. Space was full of things that could kill you. 3 days ago, Jake's ship had been found drifting near the trade route. He was unconscious in the cargo bay. His friend Lisa Park had called for help right away. The rescue team brought Jake to the medical station as fast as they could. Dr. Zethkar looked at Jake's chart. The test results were clear. Jake had crimson flux. It was one of the worst diseases in the galaxy. No one had ever survived it. Not the strong warrior race from Krathos. Not the smart fish people from the water world. Not even the tough rock creatures from the asteroid belt. Everyone who got crimson flux died within 3 days. The disease was like a tiny monster that lived in your blood. It ate your nerves from the inside. First, you could not move your fingers. Then your arms went numb. After that, you could not breathe. Finally, your heart stopped beating. It was a terrible way to die. Jake looked peaceful as he slept. His brown hair was messy on the white pillow. His breathing was slow and steady. But Dr. Zethkar knew that would not last long. The crimson flux was already working inside Jake's body. Soon the human would start to feel pain. Then his body would shut down piece by piece. The door opened behind Dr. Zethkar. Commander Thys walked in. She was tall and thin with hard green skin like a bug. She was the best doctor on the station. She had studied every known disease in the galaxy. "How is the human doing?" Commander Thys asked. Her voice sounded like clicking sounds. "The same," Dr. Zethkar said sadly. "The crimson flux is spreading through his system. I give him maybe 2 more days, 3 at most." Commander Thys nodded. She had seen this disease before. It always ended the same way. "Have you told his friend?" "Not yet. Lisa Park is in the waiting room. She has been there for hours. She keeps asking when Jake will wake up. I do not know how to tell her that he never will." The 2 doctors stood quietly for a moment. They both felt sad. It was hard to watch someone die when you could not help them. Medicine had come so far in the galaxy. They could fix broken bones in minutes. They could replace damaged organs. They could even cure some types of cancer. But crimson flux was different. It was too fast and too smart. "We should at least try something," Commander Thys said. "Maybe human bodies are different from others." Dr. Zethkar shook his head. "I have run every test. Humans have the same type of nervous system as most other species. The crimson flux will attack it the same way. There is nothing we can do except make him comfortable." Jake's body looked small on the big medical bed. Tubes went into his arms to give him food and water. Machines beeped softly as they watched his heartbeat. Everything looked normal now, but that would change soon. Dr. Zethkar had seen crimson flux kill beings much stronger than humans. The Krathan warriors were 10 times bigger than Jake. They had thick skin and powerful muscles, but the disease killed them just as easily. Size and strength meant nothing to crimson flux. The door opened again. Lisa Park walked in without permission. She had been waiting too long. Her eyes were red from crying. Her hands shook as she looked at her friend. "When will he get better?" she asked. "Jake is tough. He has survived crashes and space storms. He can beat this too." Dr. Zethkar looked at Commander Thys. They both knew the truth. But how could they tell this young woman that her friend was going to die? How could they explain that no medicine in the galaxy could save him? "We are doing everything we can." Dr. Zethkar said gently. Jake is getting the best care possible. We have given him drugs to fight the infection. We are watching him very carefully. Lisa nodded, but she could tell something was wrong. But he will be okay, right? He will wake up soon? The doctors did not answer right away. That told Lisa everything she needed to know. Her legs felt weak. She sat down in the chair next to Jake's bed. Please, she whispered. He is all the family I have. We have been flying together for 5 years. He taught me how to fix engines. He helped me when I had nowhere else to go. You have to save him. Commander. Thys put her hand on Lisa's shoulder. We will do everything possible, but you need to know that crimson flux is very serious. It has never been cured before. Lisa looked at Jake's peaceful face. She reached out and held his hand. It felt warm and alive. She could not believe that something invisible was killing him from the inside. Then this will be the first time, she said firmly. Jake does not give up on anything. He will not give up on this either. The doctors left Lisa alone with Jake. They had other patients to check on. But they both knew they would be back soon. When Crimson Flux reached its final stage, they wanted to be there. No one should die alone in space. Outside, the room Dr. Zethkar started preparing Jake's final medical report. It would be sent to hospitals across the galaxy. Another species had been added to the list of those who could not survive Crimson Flux. Soon, the human's name would be forgotten, but the disease would keep killing others. Dr. Zethkar had no way of knowing that everything he believed about Crimson Flux was about to change. In less than 2 days, Jake Morrison would do something that no living being in the galaxy had ever done before. He would survive the incurable. Dr. Zethkar walked slowly toward room 7. He had not slept well. All night he had thought about Jake Morrison. The human should be getting worse by now. The crimson flux should be eating away at his nerves. Soon Jake would start feeling pain. Then his body would begin to shut down. The doctor had seen this happen so many times before. It was always the same. First, the patient would wake up confused. They would ask for water. Then the shaking would start. After that came the screaming. Finally, there would be silence. Dr. Zethkar stopped outside Jake's room. He took a deep breath. He had to check on the human, but he did not want to see him suffer. The doctor pushed the door open and stepped inside. Jake Morrison was sitting up in bed. He was looking around the room with bright, clear eyes. When he saw Dr. Zethkar, he smiled and waved. "Hey there, Doc," Jake said in a cheerful voice. "Any chance I could get some coffee? And maybe something to eat? I feel like I could eat a whole space cow." Dr. Zethkar froze. His mouth fell open. This was impossible. Jake should be dying. Instead, he looked better than ever. His skin had good color. His eyes were sharp and focused. He moved his arms and hands like nothing was wrong. "How do you feel?" Dr. Zethkar asked in a whisper. "Great," Jake said. "Actually, I feel amazing. Like I just had the best sleep of my life. My head is clear. My body feels strong. Whatever you gave me really worked." The doctor ran to the medical computer on the wall. His fingers shook as he pulled up Jake's test results. The numbers on the screen made no sense. According to the scans, there was no crimson flux in Jake's body, not even a trace of it. But that was not the strangest part. Jake's blood showed signs that the disease had been there, but it also showed something else. There were new proteins in his blood that Dr. Zethkar had never seen before. These proteins looked like tiny soldiers that had fought a war inside Jake's body. "This cannot be right," Dr. Zethkar said to himself. He ran the tests again. The results were the same. He ran them a third time. Still the same. Jake looked worried. "Is something wrong, Doc? You look like you have seen a ghost." Before Dr. Zethkar could answer, the door burst open. Commander Thys rushed in with 3 other doctors behind her. They had all heard the news. The human was awake and talking. "Impossible," Commander Thys said. She pulled out her own scanner and pointed it at Jake. The device beeped and flashed. The readings were the same as the wall computer. Dr. Quintal, an expert on diseases, pushed forward. He was a small gray creature with 6 arms. "Let me see those results," he said. His voice was high and squeaky. All the doctors gathered around the computer screen. They whispered to each other in different languages. Some shook their heads. Others made clicking sounds with their tongues. None of them could believe what they were seeing. "What is going on?" Jake asked. "Did I have some kind of space flu? Because I feel fine now." Lisa Park heard the voices from the hallway. She ran into the room and saw Jake sitting up. Tears of joy ran down her face. She threw her arms around him and hugged him tight. "I knew you would be okay," she said. "I told them you were too stubborn to die." Dr. Zethkar pulled Commander Thissy aside. They spoke in quiet voices so Jake could not hear them. "This should not be possible," Dr. Zethkar said. "No one survives Crimson Flux. No one. We have records going back thousands of years." "I know," Commander Thiss replied. "But the tests do not lie. The disease was there. Now it is gone. And look at these protein readings. His immune system did not just fight off the Crimson Flux. It completely destroyed it." More doctors started arriving at the room. Word was spreading through the medical station. Soon there were 12 doctors from 8 different species crowded around Jake's bed. They all wanted to see the human who had done the impossible. Jake looked around at all the alien faces staring at him. "Okay, this is getting weird," he said. "Did I win some kind of lottery? Why is everyone looking at me like that?" Dr. Vexara, the nurse who had been taking care of Jake, finally spoke up. "You had Crimson Flux," she said. "It is a disease that always kills, always. But you got better overnight." Jake scratched his head. "Well, that is good news, right? I mean, if I am the first one to beat it, maybe you can figure out how I did it. Then you can help other people." The doctors looked at each other. The human was right. If they could understand how Jake's body had defeated Crimson Flux, they might be able to save other lives. But first, they needed to figure out what had happened inside him. Dr. Quintal started, taking more blood samples. Other doctors scanned Jake with different machines. They tested his reflexes and checked his brain activity. Everything looked perfect. Better than perfect, actually. Jake seemed healthier than most people who had never been sick at all. "I need to call the medical council," Commander Thiss said. "They need to know about this right away. And I need to contact the Earth Medical Center," Dr. Zethkar added. "Maybe other humans have survived diseases they should not have." Jake watched all the activity around him. He was starting to understand that something very unusual had happened to him. "So this Crimson Flux thing," he said. "It really kills everyone who gets it?" "Every single one," Dr. Zethkar confirmed. "We have treated thousands of patients with Crimson Flux over the centuries. Not one of them lived more than 3 days." "Wow," Jake said. "That is pretty crazy. Good thing I am too dumb to know when I am supposed to die." Lisa laughed and squeezed Jake's hand. "You always were the luckiest person I know." But the doctors knew this was not about luck. Something incredible had happened inside Jake's body. His immune system had not just fought off a deadly disease. It had learned how to kill something that had never been killed before. As the news spread through the galaxy, medical centers on dozens of worlds started looking at their own records. They wanted to see if other species had ever survived impossible diseases. But deep down, they already knew what they would find. Humans were different, and that difference was about to change medicine forever. The day that started with Dr. Zethkar expecting to watch a patient die had turned into the most important discovery of his long career. Jake Morrison had done more than survive Crimson Flux. He had opened a door to a new age of healing that would save countless lives across the stars. But none of them knew that yet. They only knew that the impossible had happened in Room 7 of a small medical station floating in the darkness of space. News of Jake Morrison's impossible recovery spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within 2 days, the medical station received over 300 messages from doctors on different worlds. Everyone wanted to know how a human had survived Crimson Flux. Dr. Elena Rodriguez was packing her bags when she got the call. She worked at the Earth Medical Center on Mars Colony. She was one of the best experts on how human bodies worked compared to alien bodies. When her boss told her about Jake Morrison, she dropped everything and caught the next transport ship. The journey to the medical station took 4 days. During that time, Dr. Rodriguez read every report about Jake's case. She also looked up old medical records from human colonies across the galaxy. What she found made her very excited. Jake Morrison was not the first human to do something impossible. On New Texas, a human named Billy Grant had survived void sickness. That disease turned your blood into acid. It killed an entire alien city in just 1 week. But Billy got better after 3 days and went back to work on his ranch. On Europa Station, a woman named Carol Davis beat bone plague. The disease made your skeleton crumble into dust. No alien race had ever found a cure, but Carol's bones grew back stronger than before. There were dozens of other cases. Humans getting diseases that should have killed them, then getting better like nothing had happened. The strange part was that most humans did not even know these diseases were supposed to be deadly. They just thought they had caught a bad cold. When Dr. Rodriguez arrived at the medical station, she found Jake surrounded by alien doctors. They were still running tests on him. Jake looked tired of being poked and scanned all day. "Are you here to stick more needles in me?" Jake asked when he saw Dr. Rodriguez. "No," she said with a smile. "I am here to explain why you are still alive." Dr. Zethkar and Commander Thiss gathered around as Dr. Rodriguez set up her computer. She had brought medical files from across human space. The information she was about to share would change how every alien species thought about humans. "You have to understand something about Earth," Dr. Rodriguez began. "It is not a nice, safe world like most planets where intelligent life grows. Earth is what we call a death world." The alien doctors looked confused. They had heard of Earth, but they thought it was just another planet with cities and farms. "Earth has more deadly diseases than any other world in the galaxy," Dr. Rodriguez continued. "We have viruses that attack your brain, bacteria that eat your skin, parasites that live in your blood for years, and that is just the start." She pulled up pictures of Earth's microscopic life. The alien doctors gasped when they saw the images. Tiny creatures that looked like monsters covered the screen. "Humans have been fighting these diseases for millions of years," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "Our immune systems did not just learn how to defend against them. We learned how to hunt them down and destroy them." Commander Thiss shook her head. "But Crimson Flux is not from Earth. How could Jake's body know how to fight it?" "That is the amazing part," Dr. Rodriguez said. "Human immune systems are like universal soldiers. When we meet a new disease, our bodies study it. They figure out how it works. Then they build weapons to kill it. All of this happens in hours, not years." She showed them scans of Jake's blood. The new proteins were still there, waiting in case Crimson Flux ever came back. "These proteins will stay in Jake's system forever," Dr. Rodriguez said. "If he ever gets Crimson Flux again, his body will kill it in minutes. But it gets even better than that." Dr. Zethkar leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "Jake's children will also have protection against Crimson Flux. Human immune systems pass their knowledge to the next generation. One human surviving a disease means all humans in his family line will be safe from it." The room went silent. The alien doctors were trying to understand what this meant. If humans could defeat any disease, what did that say about the rest of the galaxy? Jake had been listening quietly. Now he spoke up. "So you are telling me that I am some kind of walking disease killer?" "In a way, yes," Dr. Rodriguez said. "Your body is a weapons factory that builds custom bullets for every disease it meets." Dr. Quintal, the disease expert, was looking at his own medical records. "I have been studying diseases for 200 years, he said slowly. "There are illnesses that have killed billions of beings across dozens of worlds. Are you saying humans could cure all of them?" Dr. Rodriguez nodded. "If we expose Jake to those diseases in a safe way, his body would create cures. We could then copy those cures and adapt them for other species." The idea was incredible. For thousands of years, many diseases had been considered impossible to Cure. Entire species had been wiped out by plagues that lasted for centuries, but humans might be able to end all of that suffering. There is more, Dr. Rodriguez said. She pulled up a map of human space. Red dots marked every human colony. I have been checking medical records from all of these worlds. Humans have survived at least 50 different diseases that are supposed to be always fatal. She clicked on each red dot. Stories appeared of humans beating impossible odds. Farmers who survived planet-killer plagues. Miners who lived through toxic exposure that melted alien equipment. Children who played in poison swamps and never got sick. We always thought we were just lucky, Jake said. I never knew other species could not do the same things. Lisa Park, who had been listening from the corner, finally spoke. So Jake is not special? All humans can do this? Every human has this ability, Dr. Rodriguez confirmed. Some are better at it than others. Jake seems to be very good at it. But yes, any human could potentially survive diseases that kill other species. Commander Thace was looking at her medical books. Diseases that had puzzled doctors for generations might finally have answers. How many humans would be willing to help us, she asked. Jake sat up straighter. Help you do what? We could create a new kind of medicine, Dr. Rodriguez explained. Humans would let us expose them to small amounts of deadly diseases. Their bodies would create cures. We could then save lives all across the galaxy. The room buzzed with excitement. Alien doctors started talking to each other in their own languages. They were already planning experiments and thinking about which diseases to try first. But Jake looked worried. Wait a minute, you want to make people sick on purpose? That sounds dangerous. We would be very careful, Dr. Zethkar promised. Small amounts of disease in controlled conditions, with the best medical care in the galaxy watching over everything. Jake looked at Lisa. She gave him a small nod. They had both seen enough suffering in the galaxy. If they could help stop some of it, maybe they should try. Okay, Jake said finally. But I have one condition. I want to be the first volunteer. If this is going to work, we need to prove it is safe. Dr. Rodriguez smiled. I was hoping you would say that. As the doctors continued planning, none of them realized they were about to start the biggest change in galactic medicine ever seen. Jake Morrison, a simple cargo pilot, was about to become the most important human in the galaxy. 2 weeks after Jake's recovery, the medical station looked like a different place. Scientists from 12 different worlds had arrived to study human immunity. The quiet hallways now buzzed with activity as researchers set up new equipment and planned experiments. Jake Morrison sat in the preparation room getting ready for his first official test. Dr. Zethkar and Dr. Rodriguez checked all the medical machines one more time. They were about to expose Jake to Centauri wasting disease, a sickness that had killed millions of reptilian aliens over the past century. Are you sure about this? Lisa asked Jake for the 10th time. She stood beside his chair, holding his hand tightly. I am sure, Jake said with a confident smile. If my body can beat Crimson Flux, it can handle anything else these doctors throw at me. Commander Thace entered the room, carrying a small glass container. Inside was a tiny amount of Centauri wasting disease. It looked like green dust, but Jake knew it was one of the most dangerous substances in the galaxy. We will start with just a few particles, Commander Thace explained. Much less than what would make a Centauri person sick. Your body should be able to handle it easily. Dr. Rodriguez attached sensors to Jake's arms and chest. The machines would watch his heart rate, brain activity, and blood chemistry. If anything went wrong, they could stop the test immediately. Remember, Jake, Dr. Zethkar said, tell us right away if you feel strange, any pain, dizziness, or weird thoughts. We are watching everything, but you know your body best. Jake nodded. He looked relaxed, but everyone else in the room was nervous. They were about to try something that had never been done before. If it worked, they might save countless lives. If it failed, Jake could die. Dr. Rodriguez opened the glass container with special tools. She took out one tiny grain of the green dust and mixed it with water. The mixture went into a needle so small, Jake could barely see it. Here we go, she said softly. The needle went into Jake's arm. He felt a small pinch, then nothing. The machines started beeping as they tracked the disease moving through his bloodstream. Everyone watched the screens carefully. For the first hour, nothing happened. Jake felt normal. His body temperature stayed the same. His blood looked healthy under the microscope. Some of the doctors started to worry that the test was not working. Then Jake's immune system woke up. The machines showed his white blood cells, moving faster than normal. His body temperature went up 1 degree. His heart beat a little quicker. But Jake still felt fine. "Something is happening," Dr. Rodriguez said, pointing at the blood samples on her screen. "Look at this." Jake's blood was changing before their eyes. New proteins were forming, just like when he had fought Crimson Flux. But this time the doctors could watch it happen in real time. "Incredible," whispered Dr. Quintal. "His immune system is studying the disease. It is learning how the Centauri wasting sickness works." For 3 hours the battle raged inside Jake's body. The disease tried to attack his cells. His immune system fought back with new weapons. The doctors watched every move like they were seeing the most exciting sports game in the galaxy. Finally, Jake's body won. The Centauri wasting disease was completely destroyed, but the new proteins stayed in his blood, ready to fight the same disease if it ever came back. "How do you feel?" Dr. Zethkar asked. "Hungry," Jake said with a grin. "Fighting invisible monsters makes me want a big sandwich." The doctors cheered. The first test had worked perfectly, but now came the harder part. They had to see if Jake's cure would work for the aliens who actually got sick from Centauri wasting disease. Dr. Rodriguez carefully collected samples of Jake's blood. The new proteins were swimming around inside, ready to kill Centauri wasting disease on sight. But reptilian aliens had different body chemistry than humans. The cure would need to be changed to work for them. For the next week, the medical team worked day and night. They tested Jake's blood on alien tissue samples. They ran computer simulations. They tried different ways to adapt the human cure for reptilian bodies. Finally, they were ready for the real test. Captain Roy Fletcher arrived at the medical station on his cargo ship. He was Jake's business partner and oldest friend, but he was not there to visit. His ship carried something much more important. In the cargo bay were 6 Centauri aliens who were dying from the wasting disease. Their families had volunteered them for the experimental treatment. It was their last hope. Without the cure, they would all be dead within days. The aliens were moved to special medical rooms. Their skin was already turning gray from the disease. They could barely move or speak. The wasting sickness was eating their bodies from the inside. Dr. Zethkar prepared the first injection. Jake's cure had been changed to work with reptilian blood chemistry. The doctors hoped it would save the alien's life, but they could not be sure until they tried it. The first patient was a young Centauri female named Seth. She was only 20 years old. The disease had attacked her nervous system. She could not move her arms or legs. "This might sting a little," Dr. Rodriguez said gently as she gave Seth the injection. For 2 hours, nothing seemed to happen. Seth's condition stayed the same. Some doctors worried that the human cure did not work on aliens after all. Maybe Jake's immunity was only good for humans. Then Seth opened her eyes. She tried to move her hand. Her fingers twitched slightly. It was the first movement she had made in days. "It is working," Commander Thiss said in amazement. Over the next 12 hours, all 6 alien patients got better. Their skin returned to normal color. They could move and talk again. The Centauri wasting disease was gone from their bodies. News spread across the galaxy faster than light-speed radio. For the first time in history, someone had cured Centauri wasting disease. The treatment came from the blood of a human cargo pilot who had volunteered to get sick. But not everyone was happy about the discovery. Messages started arriving from different alien governments. Some species were angry that humans had such powerful immune systems. They said it was unfair that one race could cure diseases that killed everyone else. Religious groups from several worlds claimed that some diseases were meant to exist. They said curing everything would upset the natural order of the universe. A few alien leaders worried about humans becoming too important. If everyone needed human medicine to stay healthy, what would that mean for the rest of the galaxy? Jake listened to all the complaints and shook his head. I do not understand, he told Dr. Zethkar. We are trying to save lives. Why are some people upset about that? Change is always scary, the alien doctor replied. Even good change. But do not worry, Jake. The people who matter will support what we are doing. As if to prove his point, Captain Fletcher brought news from Earth. The human government wanted to work with alien medical centers. They were offering to send volunteer humans to hospitals across the galaxy. Looks like you started something big, partner, Captain Fletcher told Jake. Half the humans in space want to be disease fighters now. Jake smiled and looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien children were dying from diseases that his blood could cure. If he could help save them, all the politics and complaints did not matter. The real work was just beginning. 6 months had passed since Jake Morrison first opened his eyes after beating Crimson Flux. The small medical station was now the most important place in the galaxy. Representatives from over 50 worlds had come to see the human medical miracle for themselves. Jake stood at the window of his new office, looking out at the massive ship that had just arrived. The vessel was 3 times bigger than the medical station. Its white hull gleamed with the symbols of the Galactic Health Consortium. Today, they would sign the agreement that would change medicine forever. Nervous? Dr. Zethkar asked as he entered the room. The alien doctor had become Jake's closest friend over the past months. They had worked together to cure 12 different diseases that were supposed to be impossible to beat. A little, Jake admitted. I am just a cargo pilot. I never thought I would be signing treaties that affect the whole galaxy. Dr. Rodriguez walked in carrying a stack of papers. These are the final contracts, she said. Once everyone signs, humans will officially become medical partners with 43 different species. Jake looked through the papers. The language was complicated, but the basic idea was simple. Humans would volunteer to help fight diseases. In return, the galaxy would share its medical knowledge with Earth. Human doctors would work alongside alien doctors to save lives everywhere. But the agreement had not been easy to reach. Many alien species had fought against it. The Kraken Empire had argued that humans were too dangerous. They worried that human immune systems might create diseases that could kill other species. It took months of testing to prove that human antibodies only attacked harmful germs. The Stellar Republic had claimed that curing all diseases would make their people weak. They believed that fighting sickness made species stronger over time. Dr. Rodriguez had to explain that humans fought plenty of diseases on Earth and were still getting stronger. The hardest opposition came from the Purist Alliance. This group of religious aliens believed that death from disease was natural and holy. They said humans were interfering with the will of the universe. Some had even threatened to attack human medical ships. But the opposition was not the biggest story. The real news was how many species wanted human help. The Centauri government had begged Earth to send medical volunteers after seeing their people cured. The water-breathing Delphians offered to trade their advanced technology for human disease research. Even the proud warrior race from Krathos had asked for help with a plague that was killing their children. Jake remembered the day that changed everything. A transport ship had arrived carrying 30 sick children from different worlds. Their families had brought them as a last hope. These kids had diseases that no alien doctor could cure. Jake and 5 other human volunteers had spent 2 weeks getting exposed to different sicknesses. It was not pleasant. Jake had felt terrible for days as his body learned to fight each new disease. But seeing those children get better made all the pain worth it. The door opened and Commander Theiss entered with a group of alien officials. They were here for the signing ceremony. Jake recognized most of them from the long negotiations. Ambassador Vexthul from the Centauri Republic was first to speak. His scaled face showed deep gratitude. Mr. Morrison, your people have given my children a future. The Centauri wasting disease killed my own son 20 years ago. Now no Centauri child will ever die from it again. General Korthak from the Krathan warrior clan stepped forward. He was twice as tall as Jake and covered in thick armor. But his voice was gentle when he spoke. Human Jake Morrison, The Krathan people owe you a blood debt. Our warriors were not strong enough to defeat the red fever. Your blood was stronger than our muscles." Jake felt embarrassed by the praise. "I just did what anyone would do. If you could save human kids, I know you would do the same thing." More alien leaders shared their stories. Each species had lost millions of people to diseases that humans could now cure. The gratitude in their voices made Jake understand how important this day really was. Dr. Zethkar began the official ceremony. One by one, the alien representatives signed the Galactic Medical Accords. Each signature meant their world would work, with humans to fight disease and save lives. When it was Jake's turn to sign, his hand shook slightly. He was not signing as Jake Morrison, the cargo pilot. He was signing as the first human medical ambassador to the galaxy. It was a big responsibility. "I promise that humans will do everything we can to help," Jake said as he wrote his name. "We will share our immunity with anyone who needs it, and we will keep learning how to fight new diseases together." The ceremony ended with cheers from aliens and humans alike, but Jake knew the real work was just beginning. Captain Fletcher had brought news from Earth. The human government was building special medical ships that would travel between the stars. Each ship would carry volunteer humans who were willing to get sick to help others get better. The first ship, called the Medical Endeavor, was already finished. It would go to the Crystari colony world, where a plague had been killing children for decades. Jake would lead the mission himself. Lisa Park had volunteered to be his assistant. She had learned enough about medicine to help with basic treatments. More importantly, she kept Jake grounded when all the attention got to his head. "Ready to go save the galaxy?" she asked with a smile. "One disease at a time," Jake replied. Dr. Zethkar came over to say goodbye. The alien doctor would stay at the medical station to coordinate with other worlds that needed help. "You have given me the greatest gift possible," Dr. Zethkar told Jake. "For 300 years I watched patients die because I could not cure them. Now I have hope that every disease can be beaten." Jake shook his friend's blue hand. "We make a good team, Doc. Humans and aliens working together." As Jake walked toward the transport ship that would take him to the Medical Endeavor, he thought about how much his life had changed. 6 months ago, he was hauling cargo between space stations. Now he was the most famous human in the galaxy. But fame was not what mattered. What mattered were the lives they could save. The transport ship carried Jake toward his new destiny. Behind him, the medical station continued its work. Alien doctors and human volunteers worked side by side, turning impossible diseases into curable conditions. Ahead of him waited the Crystari children who had been dying from an ancient plague. Soon, they would discover that no disease was stronger than human determination to help others. Jake Morrison had started as a simple cargo pilot who got sick at the wrong time. He had become the bridge between human immunity and galactic medicine. But most importantly, he had shown the galaxy that sometimes the best way to prove you are strong is to use that strength to help others get better. The stars ahead looked brighter than ever before. In the darkness of space, human medicine was bringing new light to worlds that had lived in the shadow of incurable disease for far too long. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what Jake Morrison had hoped for when he first decided to help.